Hello guys, welcome to our channel AskPrep. Today we will be learning about the how do organisms reproduce. Coming to introduction, let's see first what we gonna cover in this video and main objective of this video. All living organisms multiply or reproduce and produce offsprings of a similar kind. Here in this video, we will learn about how different unicellular and multicellular organisms such as bacteria, algae, plants, animals and human beings reproduce. Learn what the different reproductive structures are and about modes of reproduction such as cell division, vegetative reproduction, asexual reproduction and sexual reproduction. What is reproduction? Reproduction is a process by which organisms create offspring. Ensure the continuity of life. It involves a mechanism like cell division, sexual reproduction, asexual reproduction and vegetative reproduction. This vital process maintains genetic diversity and species survival. Coming to what is asexual reproduction? Asexual reproduction is a mode of reproduction in which a new offspring is produced by a single parent. The new individuals produced are genetically and physically identical to each other. That is, they are clones of their parents. Asexual reproduction is observed in both multicellular and unicellular organisms. This process does not involve any kind of gamete fusion and there won't be any change in number of chromosomes either. It will inherit the same genes as the parent except for some cases when there is a chance of a rare mutating occurring. Characteristics of asexual reproduction. Following are the important features of asexual reproduction. Single parent involved. No fertilization or gamete formation takes place. This process of reproduction occurs in a very short time. The organisms multiply and grow rapidly. The offspring is genetically similar. Coming to types of asexual reproduction: binary fission, budding, fragmentation, vegetative propagation and spontaneous. What is binary fission? The term fission means to divide. During binary fission, the parent cell divides into two cells. The cell division patterns vary in different organisms, that is, some are directional while others are non-directional. Amoeba and Igluna exhibit binary fission. It is one of the simplest and uncomplicated methods of asexual reproduction. The parent cell divides into two, each daughter cell carrying a nucleus of its own that is genetically identical to parent. The cytoplasm also divides, leading to two equal-sized daughter cells. The process repeats itself and the daughter cell grow and further divide. What is fragmentation? Fragmentation is the breaking of body into two parts with subsequent regeneration. If the animal is capable of fragmentation, the part is big enough and separate individual will regrow. Many seawater stars reproduce asexually by fragmentation. For example, if the arm of an individual sea star is broken off, it will regenerate a new sea star. Fishery workers have been known to try to kill the sea stars that eat their calm or oyster beds by cutting them in half and throwing them back into the ocean. Unfortunately for workers, the two parts can each regenerate a new half, resulting in twice as many sea stars to prey upon the oysters and clams. Fragmentation also occurs in annealed worms, tubulins and poriferans. Fragmentation. Sea stars can reproduce through refragmentation. The large arm, a fragment from another sea star, is developing into a new individual. What is budding? Budding is a form of asexual reproduction that results from outgrowth of a part of a cell or body region, leading to a separation from the original organism into two individuals. Budding occurs commonly in some invertebrate animals such as corals and hydras. In hydras, a bud forms that develops into an adult which breaks away from the main body. Whereas in coral budding, the bud does not detach and multiplies as part of a new colony. What is vegetative propagation? Vegetative propagation is a form of asexual reproduction in plants where new plants are grown from vegetative parts of a parent plant like stem, root or leaves. This technique allows gardeners and horticulturists to create genetically identical offspring to the parent plant, which is particularly useful for plants that have desirable traits such as producing good quality fruit or having beautiful flowers. What is spore formation? Spore formation is a mode of asexual reproduction exhibited by various organisms such as fungi, bacteria, algae, and certain plants. In this process, specialized reproductive cells called spores are produced and released from parent organisms. These spores serve as dormant structure capable of withstanding adverse environmental conditions. They are equipped with protective layers that shield them from declination, heat, and other stressors. When environmental conditions become favorable, spores germinate and initiate the development of new individuals. This ability to form spores allows organisms to propagate and colonize the new habitats efficiently, contributing to their survival and dispersal. What is sexual reproduction? Sexual reproduction is a natural way of reproduction in humans, animals, and the majority of plants also choose to reproduce sexually. This type of reproduction is more complex and lengthy as compared to asexual reproduction. Moreover, reproducing sexually gives the benefit of variation and offsprings are unique. Sexual reproduction consists of set of events can be divided into three stages: pre-fertilization, fertilization, and post-fertilization. Stages of sexual reproduction. First stage, pre-fertilization. This stage involves the events prior to fertilization. Gamete formation and transfer of gamete are the two processes that take place during this stage. Gametes are sex cells which are haploid in nature and are distinct in males and females. The male gamete is called sperm, whereas female gamete is called ovum or egg. In every organism, these gametes are formed within special structures. Since female gamete is immobile and male gametes need to be transferred for fertilization. Second stage, fertilization. The process of fusion of sperm with egg to produce a zygote is called fertilization. It is a crucial and primary stage of sexual reproduction. During sexual intercourse, the penis ejaculates millions of sperms into the vagina of the woman. Sperm will travel through the uterus to the oviducts. At the oviduct, 1 out of million sperm fertilizes the released ovum. The fertilized egg develops into a zygote. With the fusion of gametes, sexual reproduction is futile. It does not occur in asexual reproduction. Last stage, post-fertilization. Fertilization results in diploid zygote formation. Eventually, the zygote divides metically and develops as an embryo. This process is called embryogenesis. During embryogenesis, cell differentiates and modifies accordingly. Zygote development depends on the organism, its life cycle. Animals are classified into oviparous and viviparous based on whether the zygote develops outside or inside body respectively. In angiosperms, the zygote develops into the ovary and ovary transforms into the fruit while ovule develop into seeds. Cell division. Cell division happens when a parent cell divides into two or more cells called daughter cells. Cell division usually occurs as a part of larger cell cycle. All cells reproduce by splitting into two, where each parental cell gives rise to two daughter cells. Type of cell division. There are two distinct types of cell divisions, out of which the first one is vegetative division, wherein each daughter cell duplicates the parent cell called mitosis. The second one is meiosis, which divides into 4 haploid daughter cells. Two types of cell division are seen in eukaryotic organisms. Mitosis take place in somatic cells, maintains the chromosome number, produces 2 diploid daughter cells required for asexual reproduction, development and growth, cell replacement and regeneration. Meiosis. Meiosis takes place in sex cells, reduces the number of chromosomes by half, produces 4 haploid daughter cells required for sexual reproduction, that is gamete formation. The reproductive system. The reproductive system is a complex network of organs and tissues responsible for the reproduction of offspring in living organisms. It comprises various structures and functions dedicated to creation, nourishment and delivery of gametes and facilitating fertilization. In human and many animals, the reproductive system includes organs such as testes and ovaries, which produces sperm and eggs respectively. These gametes are then transported through specialized ducts such as vas deferens and fallopian tubes, where fertilization typically occurs. Additionally, the reproductive system includes accessory glands and structures that produce fluids and hormones essential for reproductive function. Overall, the reproductive system plays a vital role in perpetuating species and ensuring the continuation of life. Male reproductive system. The main reproductive system in males is a pair of testes. They produce the male sex cells called sperms and also produce the male sex hormone testosterone. Male primary reproductive organ. The main reproductive organ in males is a pair of testes. They are present in scrotal sacs outside of the body and contain seminiferous tubules as structural and functional unit. Male sexual sperms are produced by seminiferous tubules and mature in epidermis. Leydig cells or interstitial cells present in between the seminiferous tubes secrete the hormones testosterone. Male accessory reproductive organs. Several accessory reproductive organs aid in reproductive process. The prostate gland and the seminal vessels are glands of reproductive system which make semen and nourish the sperm. Penis having urethra passing through it, it's called copulatory organ. Male ducts. In males, the vas deferens and the urethra are the main ducts. A single vas deferens carries sperm from the respective testes up to the urethra. The urethra acts as common passage for semen and urine. Female reproductive system. The ovaries are responsible for producing female gametes called eggs or ova. Ovulation, the release of mature eggs, occurs cyclically, typically once in a month. The fallopian tubes or oviducts serve as pathways for eggs to travel from ovaries to uterus. The uterus or womb is a muscular organ where fertilized egg implants and develops into fetus during pregnancy. The vagina is a muscular canal that connects the uterus to the outside of body and serves as a birth canal during childbirth. Hormones such as estrogen and progesterone regulates the menstruation cycle and maintain pregnancy. The female reproductive system enables conception, pregnancy, childbirth and lactation, essential for continuation of human species. Female primary reproductive organ. The main reproductive organ in a female is a pair of ovaries. They produce female sex cells called eggs or ova, also produce female sex hormones called estrogen and progesterone. Now we will see the labeling of female primary reproductive organs such as in number 1 you are seeing vagina, at number 2 cervix, 3rd endometrium, 4th ovary, 5th fimbriae, 6th is fallopian tubes and 7th is uterus. Now we will discuss detail about all these organs. Vagina. The vagina is a muscular canal that connects the cervix, lower part of the uterus, to the external opening of body. It serves as pathway or gateway for menstruation blood to exit the body and for sperm to enter during sexual intercourse. Cervix. The cervix is a lower, narrow and end of uterus that projects into vagina. It acts as a gateway between vagina and uterus, regulating what passes through. Endometrium. The endometrium is a lining of uterus. It thickens each menstruation cycle in preparation for pregnancy. If no pregnancy occurs, the endometrium sheds during menstruation. Next, ovary. The ovary are two oval-shaped glands located on either side of uterus. They are responsible for producing eggs, that's called ova, and hormones like estrogen and progesterone. Fimbriae. The fimbriae are finger-like projection at the end of each fallopian tube. They help capture the released egg from ovary and usher it into fallopian tube. The fallopian tube are the two thin tubes that connect the ovaries to the uterus. They provide also a pathway or a gateway for the egg to travel from the ovary to the uterus, and where it fertilizes and the sperm meeting egg can occur. Uterus. The uterus is a pear-shaped muscular organ located in the lower abdomen. It's where a fertilized egg implants and grow during pregnancy. The strong muscle of uterus also contract to push the baby out during childbirth. Female accessory reproductive organ. The uterus, oviducts and vagina are accessory reproductive organs in human females. The uterus is a site of fetal development and the vagina receives sperm from the male. Ovum is carried from the ovaries to uterus through a pair of oviducts. Now we can see how we can control reproduction. There are the various birth controls methods and some of them are mentioned below. Abstinence, birth control pills, that is called eye pills or contraceptive pills, intrauterine device, male condom and contraceptive implants, and the morning after the pills. Now we will discuss reproduction in plants. Let's start with introduction. Reproduction in plants involves the production of new individuals from existing ones. Ensuring the continuation of species, plants exhibit various modes of reproduction including sexual and asexual methods. Sexual reproduction in plants involves the fusion of male and female gametes leading to formation of seeds, offspring with genetic variation. Sexual reproduction in flowering plants. Sexual reproduction in plants happens through flowers. Essential holes of the flower such as endoecium and gynoecium help in sexual reproduction of plants. Non-essential parts of a flower. The typical structures of flowers contain essential holes and non-essential holes. Sepals and petals are called non-essential holes as they do not directly take part in reproduction. Sepals protect the inner delicate hole during bud condition and also perform photosynthesis if they are green in color. Essential holes of a flower. Endoecium and gynoecium are called essential reproductive holes of a flower. Endoecium produces pollen grains containing male gametes and gynoecium produces ovules which are female gametes. Each individual member of endoecium is called stamen and consists of an anther and filament. Anther and a filament. Pollination. What is pollination? The process of transfer of pollen grains from anthers to stigma of a flower is known as pollination. There are major two types of pollination. First is self-pollination. The transfer of pollen grains take place from anthers to stigma of same flower or another flower of the same plant. Second type is cross-pollination. Pollens are transferred from anthers to stigma of another flower. Many pollinating agents play their roles in cross-pollination. Examples: water, wind, insects, bird, bats, and etc. Fertilization. In flowering plants, after pollination, the pollen germinate on the stigma surface of its pistil, generates two male nuclei. Ovule has an egg cell and two polar nuclei. One male nucleus fuses with the two polar nuclei and form a triploid endosperm. Another male nucleus fuses with egg cell and form the zygote that gives rise to embryo and future plants. Now we will see how fertilization is gone on the flower. Fertilization occurs after pollen grains fall on the stigma. Upon falling on the stigma, the pollen grain bursts and grow a pollen tube that passes downwards from style to ovary, containing the ovule. The male gamete present in the pollen moves downward through the pollen tube and reaches the ovule. This gamete fuses with the egg to form a zygote. This process is known as fertilization.